Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 347 at scavengerlife.com.
I'm so glad to be here.
Me too.
Here, where are we?
Here, right now.
In your head.
In our house.
So we just watched an episode of
Queer Eye.
Queer Eye for the straight guy.
That's not what it's called anymore.
Okay.
It's just called Queer Eye.
Okay, but it's people who might not know. And they are on Netflix now. I guess it's probably been, 15 years since they were on?
I think the first one was like on NBC or something.
No, it was on Bravo.
Oh, it was on Bravo.
Anyway, I actually had never seen the first one. I mean, I knew about it, but I didn't watch it. Because it was on when you were in college,
I was in college when it was on, and I think I watched it at my mom's house because she had cable. Now that you say it, yeah, I had to watch it on cable.
Is it essentially the same show?
It feels the same to me, but I was saying that I wanted to rewatch the old ones. Like, how does it feel different?
Right. And I only bring that up because to me it's just so interesting socially how, and this has nothing to do with eBay.
Yeah, by the way.
It's our show. We can do what we want. How much things have changed since even like the year 2000,
right?
You know, just you know, like it's not weird. Like gay people aren't weird, or like there's, you know, it's.
Well, that show when it came out was very revolutionary, I think.
Well, it's just, I mean, look, being a straight man, it's just like I mean, we've come so far that straight men have been so like afraid of like gay men because they think it's contagious or something like that, and I feel like that's gone away. Like that one episode we saw, you know, it was like this redneck dude who he was totally into it, you know.
It was a great episode, actually.
Right.
But I do want to say, like, as much as things have changed and progressed, there's still a lot. Like, not
Absolutely.
everybody's like that guy, but there are more. The other thing that I really loved is that one of the guys was saying, you know, I've been with my partner for 13 years and we got married 5 years ago because we weren't allowed to get married before. And it's just, you're like, yeah, because like when the first show came out, like, yeah, that wasn't...
Right. No. I mean, I totally agree. It's like with anything. It's about,
it's really,
you know, it's knowing it's a struggle and you got to keep pushing forward. But at the same time, I think it's good to acknowledge the change.
That stuff has changed.
Especially since I was like in high school. I mean, like...
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about... We're talking about Zealot's jug on the internet, Ryan.
It's so
How much
amazing.
money did you make selling old shoes?
Oh, God.
Okay, so this was my idea I wanted to start with, was because we've been talking on the forum, you know, and all the time we get emails from brand new people who are like, I hate my job.
Yep.
Or, I hate my job. 30 years and I want to retire.
His voice.
I'm just trying to think of the different voices. And so, you know, and I'm always trying to be very, like, positive, but also real about, you know, because, you know, it's not easy money just to, like, quit your job and sell stuff online, but it's also very doable.
Right.
And the one thing I always focus on is just, like, if you're willing to work 40 hours for someone else, work 40 hours for it yourself. Yeah. And it's a done deal for the most part.
Right.
I mean, I think.
You have to put the work in. That's mainly... I think also, like, when people are like, oh, I want to leave my office job and just have all my time to myself, like, you still have to work.
Right. It's not like... So,
you know what I mean?
So if I was a Tony Robbins kind of guy, this would be my big shtick, okay?
Yeah.
Are you ready for the $500 experiment?
Yes.
You know, so this is it's a new thing that I'm going to start telling people, you know?
Yes.
I'm like, $500 is a lot of money.
Right.
You know, for people, it's like us.
Yeah.
For little plebes.
Plebes, pure plebes.
Plebes like us. You know, $500 pays for a lot in a month.
Yeah.
And so, you know, how long does it take to make $500 at a job?
Right.
You know? I mean, so if you make $10 an hour, and, you know, and that's not even it's minimum wage. Some people make $7.50 an hour, but I'm not going to even go there.
Yeah, let's
just assume people are making at least $10 an hour. It would take you 50 hours to make $500, and that's before they even start pulling out all the taxes.
And that's more than a full-time week. supposedly.
So
40 hours.
that would take basically 6 full days plus 2 hours
right
to make that $500. If you make $25 an hour, which is a pretty decent, wage,
yeah.
if you're, that would take you about 20 hours. So 3 full days of work about would make you $500. And I guess my question is, so, would you work that hard for it yourself to make, $500 on eBay?
On eBay.
I mean, we try and aim for about $200 a day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it would take us about 3-ish days to make $500. Gross before we have to, pay our fees and stuff like that. But to me, that's just... I think that's what I'm going to start telling people, if you're thinking about doing this, just start comparing,
That's what
how
it
much...
is.
I mean, I guess the big question is, how long will it take to make $500 on eBay? And
right. I mean, it fluctuates, but I think it's a good, concrete, put it in a box and hold it type information where you're think of how long it takes you to make this amount of money in your job right now.
Right.
How many hours do you have to put in?
Also, I think, and this is more about personal finance, and there's whole communities about personal finance and it's retirement people.
Right.
It's all about controlling or getting a handle on the numbers.
Yes.
And I'm not going to go too deep into it because we've talked about it. It's before,
right.
But it's all about. I think a lot of people that work jobs, and I was like this too. I know I'm going to get paid every 2 weeks. As long as I, don't spend more than what they pay me, I'm good to go.
Right.
But, in personal finance world, it's all about you have to know your money and it's your money out. You don't have to necessarily spend every dime that comes in.
Right,
know?
right.
And that's a big thing. And not to, it's rely all on your credit cards and stuff like that.
I mean, part of it, too, just to add on to that is... when you do work for yourself as well, it's that whole thing of being able to kind of work less because you brought your bills down. I feel like when you have a regular job, like you're saying, you're just yeah, I get paid every 2 weeks. There's no struggle there. And so when you're working for yourself, you're my cell phone bill is so high, So there's things like that help
if
you.
If I don't spend as much,
I don't have to work as much
over here, then I actually don't have to work as much,
Yeah.
Whereas if you have a full-time job, it's I'm always going to be working a lot,
right.
all the time.
Right.
So I might as well just spend
it's
what I want to spend.
It's built in.
Right.
You're this is where I have to be. I will always be doing that in
they
this
own me.
8 to 5 or whatever.
I'm
they
a slave.
Own me. Yeah, basically.
I'm a wage slave.
Yeah. No, I mean a lot of people are.
The bars may be golden, but they're still bars. The bars to the cage.
Yeah. Golden cage.
Okay, let's talk about specifically eBay. And these are some things that I saw. Mm-hmm. It's with my eagle eyes, Ryan.
You're freaking me out today.
Okay.
What the problem is. It's what are you drinking in that coffee mug?
It's so delicious.
It's LSD.
I was looking at our active items, and I noticed there was one item that had this green highlight, and it said, "We recommend that you sell it for X price." I had never seen this before. And this isn't, there's a tab, it's a growth tab on your hub, on the it's Seller Hub, where it'll tell you what what it prices to, it'll say sell is this item for X price. But this was on the listings and under active.
So this is behind the scenes in active listings.
Right. Where I'm always going through and seeing how many things have been watched and stuff like that.
Information.
And I'd never seen that before. It was only on one item. I'm assuming because we sell a mostly weirdo kind of items. They can't give us those.
Right.
It's recommendations on those things, but it must have been an item that had a barcode or something.
So what was the the difference between our price.
You know, ours was like $32, and they were like, sell it for $26.
Okay, so it's
and
not
you know
that...
what? I did. I changed.
Did we sell it?
No.
Probably not.
I just wanted to see what would happen.
Yeah.
And you know, someone on a forum said they thought eBay may integrate a repricer into the seller tools, kind of. It's like Amazon has. You know, Amazon's all about that. It's kind of one thing.
Yeah.
I kind of hated. They would always be trying to push you. You know, they would be like, it's your price. Everyone else is selling it for this. And you'd be like, oh no, do I need to compete? And then I would always be ending up trying to like...
It was the worst.
The race to the bottom. Right?
Yep, race to the bottom.
The bottom of the pit. So I don't know. That's interesting. I'd love to hear if other people who might sell more like brand new stuff, is there people who do that, like wholesale stuff?
Yeah. If
they've noticed if eBay's doing that or not.
That's so funny. I haven't seen that. But like you said, we don't have commodity items really, so...
And now that eBay bought Terapeak, I wonder, we've talked about this, Terapeak is like a repricing tool, like a third party, although eBay bought it. Terapeak
is a repricing tool? I thought they were just like a research tool. Well, maybe they have that in there.
I guess I don't know, isn't that the same thing?
It
would like tell you how much things will sell for.
That's true.
How often it sells.
Yep.
And then the whole outcome of that is to price your item. So it will be interesting to see if eBay puts that into the...
Or you could be like me and just price it higher than anyone else on eBay and hope that it sells.
Yeah. But, it's like I said, I will say, because Amazon has really built that into their system, it really kind of pushes people, and then you start having... sellers do it more than they already do, where people are like, they're very afraid and like, this hasn't sold in a week, I need to lower the price.
It's just it's like a totally different mentality.
Yeah. We will see. Okay, guaranteed delivery.
This is like the bane of eBay right now.
Well, it's just...
I don't understand it.
If they're going to put these programs, these new things out, I want to have control and understand them. It's better. So I was like, I wish that there was a dashboard. There actually is one.
Yeah.
We will link to it.
Yes.
So there's a dashboard, and what it tells you is if you're doing a good job or not. And
what does ours look like?
Ours is good, click on it. The status dashboard isn't really that great. It just tells you 98% of your things are on time handling, and 97% your things have been updated and validated. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't really give you a much more info than that, which items sold that did that.
Right, what are your... Yeah, and actually when it says get full report to see which ones were late, it just says, something went wrong. We're sorry. Yeah. You're like, okay, there's no data here.
But then, and we will also put a link on, there is another thing that someone found. It's a guidance for guaranteed. And what it does is it tells you items that could be in the program and what you need to do
to change it,
to get it in there.
Now what's weird is, so we had 75 items that needed tweaking. A lot of those are furniture. Clearly furniture is not going to be guaranteed delivery because it's local pickup. But I went through and I tweaked about 30 items that just randomly didn't have whatever the correct handling time, or returns weren't turned on. Right. Just it was a mistake.
So obviously. It's cool. It does tell you. It says things that you need to update. It says enable immediate payment,
right,
or offer its returns, or use shipping
services. Yeah. And what we're looking at is all furniture, so none of that's going to apply. But the weird thing is that I was trying to say is I tweaked those 30 items. But still, like you said, when you look at our merchandise, only half our store shows guaranteed delivery.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. So even though I like that they're telling me this, why are they telling me only 72 things have to get updated? Then when I look at our store, as if I'm a customer, and I click that thing that says ship in 3 days, only half of her store shows up. So I'm like, why are there 3,000 items
that aren't showing?
And I'm acting like I'm in the same town.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm in the same zip code as a person who is selling this. Why is only half the store? And so, I don't know. And that's what's confusing. That's the confusing. Yeah, and this is like so inside baseball stuff. But, again...
Look, if you're listening to this podcast, you're inside baseball eBay.
But this is just when I understand when people get frustrated with eBay.
Yeah.
Technically, it's like this stuff feels really half-baked, Like someone, there's like a meeting of upper people and they're like, we need to do something, so let's guarantee and then they tell the people who code it, and the people that code it are like, do you want this when? What? What? And then and then they do the best that they can, and then it's just kind of half-baked,
Right.
So I don't know.
And when you call the reps, they're kind of like,
and the reps don't really know. Like, they just open up a binder and it's like, okay, that's question number 5. This is the answer.
I will say Anchor support is a little better than that, but still, I've called and asked, and they're like, well, they'll give me something. Just make sure you're meeting all the criteria. And I'm like, well, look at my listing. Am I meeting all the criteria? And they're like, yes, you are. And I'm like, okay.
Right.
What the heck?
But, at the end of the day, we just do the best we can. I don't know.
And hopefully it irons itself out.
Yeah.
They iron it out.
Yeah. So eBay, if someone from eBay is hearing this, we've never actually known if anyone from eBay has listened to this podcast. But if you're hearing this,
please.
Just, help us out here. Like, why aren't half of our items in the program?
And... are they? I mean, that's the thing, is like, if I went through every single item individually and looked, would they be there and they're just not showing up on that search? That's my theory, is that they do say it on there, like, hey, this will get to you really fast in the program. I don't know.
That doesn't make sense.
Okay. None of it makes sense.
Okay, before I talk about our numbers, I've been trying to fight this for the past 2 years.
Or more.
2 years.
Yes.
I've been trying to fight how we all say, I've been having a slow week. The reason why I don't like that is, slow week compared to what?
Compared to your best week ever?
I do it too. And, I try to stop from doing it, but it's just like, we all just got off of the holidays.
Right.
Where I think a lot of us had really good sales.
Yeah.
That's what I wish it was like all the time.
Yeah.
Now it's February and, we were doing it too. We were like, oh, it's been a slow week. Compared to, it's Christmas time. Of course it's going to be slow, So, I need to start planting a flag on what slow is compared to. So for us, and everyone has to do their own thing. So for us, we need $200 a day in sales.
Right.
In gross sales, not including our shipping costs,
Mm-hmm.
I always hate that eBay puts the shipping costs as if it's income, but
because it feels like a false number.
Right.
Like, my mom was telling me her numbers, and I was like, yeah, I think you need to recalculate.
Yeah, like, is that including all your shipping? That it isn't really. But anyway, so, we need to make about $1,400 a week.
Yeah. And
that's to have a comfortable, good life.
Right.
We could actually go with about $100 a day in gross sales, and no one would kick us out of our house. Like, the cops wouldn't come, and the pink bills wouldn't come. But $200 a day is good. So that's like our average. If we make $300 a day, we're making enough where we can actually afford to fund other projects and other businesses and buy a rental and things like that, and renovate a house.
Right.
So that's going to be our like targets.
Right.
So, how were our numbers for this week? Was it slow, Ryan? No.
No, it doesn't.
No, it wasn't. Compared to Christmas time, it feels slow. Compared to the numbers I just said, it's not. So we made about $2,000 this week. In our main
store.
Yep. And that means we sold 57 items. $2,000.
It's amazing.
That's great. So that's almost $300
Yeah.
a day.
That's like you met your goal, even though some days you're like, it feels,
Yeah. I mean, it definitely felt slow because, we would have days where something wouldn't sell all daylight day.
Right.
And then at nighttime, cha-ching.
Right.
Cha-ching.
And you're like, okay.
Yep.
That made up for it.
In our second store, we made $360.
Which is very...
Not bad.
good.
Yep. Okay, let's talk about some of the things that we sold. We did not sell many high-dollar items this week. And I think that's the other thing for us is that, we're really getting addicted to selling these, big dollar items,
Yeah.
I'm just addicted to it, right?
Well, it's great because
it's like I'm winning
you make
the
your
lottery.
quota for the day in
Right.
one item. Sometimes you make your quota for 2 days in one item. And you're like, great.
Yeah,
I mean,
our store and our life is still funded by just bread and butter, $30 items. But it's a tough life doing that because it's $12 items. Oh my god.
Well, yeah.
So we sold a coffee grinder for $155.
Best offer.
And this is it's one of those antique hand coffee grinders.
We love those.
Yep. We bought them. We bought a big box of them at an auction once, and we've been selling them off.
Yeah, this one was made in Italy.
Yep.
It was a very cool, weird design.
I think most people are probably buying them just to
for
put
decoration.
on a table, but
Jesus, we have one for decoration in our kitchen.
yeah,
on the wall.
I meant to
actually
use it. I mean, it's a usable thing, but we now have a coffee maker that grinds it for us.
Which is so fancy. Okay, so our other big sale in our main store was a $400 rug. Now I'm a little bit nervous about this because I've sold this rug before and some lady returned it for no good reason.
And a woman was asking a lot of detailed questions, which
so I'm just
I think 50% chance she's going to send it back.
It's a gorgeous rug too.
She's just does it lay flat? I mean,
are you sure it's 100% wool and not jute? And I'm like, oh, lady, it is 100% wool,
right? But just when people start asking that many questions, but we really wanted the sale.
Oh, of course,
we'll take a risk.
So,
and this at Next Sale's all you.
So I found a coffee mug, a vintage 1950s, 1940s coffee mug that I thought was one of the best coffee mugs I've ever found. It said, on the front, it said coffee break for a coffee hound, and it had a picture of a hound dog. It was just a weird, and then you looked inside and it said, I have to relook this up, but it was coffee breaks over,
right?
Because you got to the bottom of the cup.
After you drink the coffee, yeah. And I was like, that's cool. It's funny. It's like a kooky little mug. And Ryan's like, I'm going to sell this for $50. I'm like, okay, whatever. And
I did.
Someone bought it. Someone over in England, right?
Well, they work in New York because she wrote to us and she's like, I need it to be in Berlin by Thursday.
Berlin, that's it. Yeah.
And so it's 12 o'clock on a Saturday. I'm like, my postal carrier is going to be here in 10 minutes.
Right.
And I said, I can't send it to Berlin. Anything you choose is not going to get there.
World Express.
Yeah, it's not going to get there fast enough. Because it won't leave the U.S. till Monday.
So she bought it and we mailed it to I guess,
New York.
Her
office.
New York office in the World Trade Center.
Yep. One World Trade Center.
Yeah.
So that was a great sale.
Yeah.
Anytime you can sell a coffee mug for $50, you're happy.
We sold, and this one I love. It's just we've been talking a lot on the forums about auctions because I've told people how I love them, and how I talk about box slots, and I guess people are hearing our words
and
trying out auctions and are realizing that box slots are fun.
They are fun,
and this is the kind of stuff where the auctioneer is selling off someone's home, and this is a part of the auction where they're just selling all the junk in people's drawers and closets and stuff like that. And this is one of those things that was in one of those box lots, and there was a mirror,
tiny mirror
from a campground from the 70s.
Right.
And it was very specific, had the name of the campground on it. It
was a calendar.
It was a calendar.
Yeah, so it was a calendar on one side, and the gimmick was turn this calendar over to see our newest friend or whatever, and it's a mirror.
So it's like a promotional thing that someone handed out.
Yeah, it's just silly.
Totally junk. I don't know why you put $25 on it, but it's sold.
It's over $25.
And this is, we talk about this. Someone was wanting to sell like a coffee mug that was so very specific. And people were like, you should just price it high
and
because
find the person who wants
it's a useless, a worthless item to most people on the planet. Right. You're just waiting for that handful of people that think it's special. So, like, is this thing somebody must have gone to that campground?
Yeah, it was a campground in Pennsylvania, and the person was in Maryland. So you're like, they probably used to go there when they were little, and they're like, oh, I remember it.
Anyway, so that's the weird, cool stuff.
I will say we've had that thing for years.
Yeah.
It's been in that bin. I see it all the time.
Hey. Everything sells if you're patient enough. Oh. And then the last thing we'll talk about, Ryan, this was your experiment.
Yes, I made a bunch of necklaces.
Like a long time ago, like 7 years ago. 7 years ago.
I made a bunch of necklaces out of old, like, brooches and earrings and, like,
gewgaws.
Cool, yes. That is a great gewgaws, doodads.
Bunch of gewgaws.
And I like them, and I actually have a bunch that I still wear. But I tried to sell them like on Etsy and whatever. I could not sell them to save my life. It has taken me so long. Although I will say I have sold, there's like one left.
Right, and we sold one for $10. Yeah. I mean, I just feel like you have tried on a handful of occasions to sell things that been made.
Handmade.
Like lights or jewelry.
Right, and you'll sell maybe one or two, and you're like, oh, cool. I just can't. I mean, it's not as good as selling like vintage stuff.
I mean, and just the amount of work it takes
to make that stuff.
To make it just, I don't know, just not a good business.
We have not had good luck with it.
Scavenge of the week. I will tell you right now, I am looking at the scavenge of our week.
Yes.
It looks like we are living in a haunted Japanese kabuki theater because we have kimonos, silk kimonos hanging on hangers
all over
from our
house.
Ceilings, and they're like floating in our house.
It's kind of freaky, yeah.
Because we bought a big lot, or a big of old kimonos. I guess someone probably, they were probably stationed in Tokyo or something.
Well, what's weird is they had little tags on them as if someone's like boutique went out of business or something.
Maybe.
Because that's what it looked like to me.
Now, it's interesting. These are all, for the most part, all silk.
Yeah.
So just the fabric itself is nice. Even if somebody like took apart the thing, I mean, the silk itself is valuable.
And some of it is like really thick silk brocade. Right. Like it's this gorgeous fabric.
And they had been stored in boxes. They were a musty. Some of it had kind of that brownish spots to it that happens with age. And people have asked us about how do you clean stuff and dry clean. And these days, if you have a relatively modern laundry thing,
a washing machine, laundry thing,
you can wash almost anything in there.
Some of the silk shrunk a little bit, I could tell, like the thin, like really delicate silk, but a lot of the silk that we have it's like raw silk. It's like heavy.
Ruined?
I don't think it's ruined. I just think it probably just did not like the washing machine. But honestly, the other ones came out
how
fine.
Do you do it? Did you put it in there on gentle?
Yeah, it's like on the delicate cycle. It's cold water. It's not a heavy spin. And I just use a little bit of soap. We use like unscented, liquid soap, whatever. And I actually put them, you can just hang them dry.
See, I think its mistake was, I don't know why did you put them in our dryer. Like, why not just hang
I put them in the dryer with no heat.
Okay. But why not just hang it up? I don't understand why even put it in the dryer.
I just wanted to get some of the liquid off of it.
Okay.
I didn't put it in for the whole cycle. I did half and half. Like, I put it in. I probably shouldn't have put the more delicate ones in the dryer. Okay. But I guess with like no heat.
I guess it's my point when you're dealing with vintage clothes. You can put wool, We've cashmere. I mean,
just do cold delicate.
Right. And for the most part, it's always come out well for us. And if you're trying to clean something that's really dirty, really you don't have anything to lose. I mean, just go for it, because to get something like, if we had to take these and have these professionally cleaned, it would have cost like $40 each.
It would just
forget about it.
And we don't even have a dry cleaner in our entire county. So
who wears dry clean clothes these days anyway? Customer issues. So we've talked about, we've been getting this wave of returns, and I think we finally got a last in that wave. And we talked about, we had sold an expensive pair of glasses, eyeglasses.
Yeah.
You know?
It was $170 for these glasses.
A Warby Parker.
Yep.
And we had the person buy it, and she was like, these are crooked on my face. And we're like,
okay.
I don't know what to tell you.
The great thing was she just said it didn't fit. So she paid for shipping and she paid our restocking.
And we tried them on, and they're not crooked.
They fit fine.
She just didn't want them, but it's just, it's a bummer. But they'll resell.
Yeah.
Okay. I talked about a week ago how we had finally gotten 100% feedback back, because we had a negative feedback that, hangs on you it's like a scarlet S.
Scarlet S.
Is that what it is? Yeah, like a letter that is bad that hangs on you.
Scarlet letter.
Yep.
A letter with that.
I think it's S, isn't it?
I thought it was A.
A, that's it, for adultery.
Yeah.
So we had finally got that cleared out, because it hangs on you for 12 months.
And we got another one. That's what Jay's getting to. We got another negative. And it's so crazy, because this person returned the shoes, and I refunded them, and they left me a negative.
Yeah.
And eBay wouldn't take it away.
And it was all of our fault. We sent her, it was a vintage pair of shoes. We all sell these shoes. Mm-hmm. And the
inside lining no, it wasn't the bottom.
Oh,
it was the inside lining was like coming off.
Right.
It was like flaking off.
Right. And, it was like a $12 pair of shoes, of course.
Of course.
She wanted to return them. We're like, absolutely, we pay for everything. And then she gives us a bad feedback.
And eBay won't.
Yeah.
They wouldn't remove it because it was her opinion on what the shoes were like.
She has a right. But this, I will say, is true evidence to smack down the people that said, if you give someone a return and a full feedback or full
refund, that they can't leave negative feedback. I was wrong. That was me.
Okay.
Because I honestly thought that was true.
Right.
I guess it just depends on, certain cases. Because
it doesn't any case. There's no case that ever happens.
They've told me, look, if you refund this person, then they can't leave any feedback. I'm like, what? What's the criteria for that?
So let's talk about something. So anyway, it's a bummer. It happens. So now we are going to have another 12 months where we have a negative feedback.
Yep.
So in the forum, we have a forum at scavengerlife.com.
Yes.
People who listen to our podcast here on YouTube, I don't think they realize we have like this whole other kind of world.
Yeah.
And they'll often comment on the YouTube video podcasts, like, where are all these things that you're talking about? I'm like, it's over here.
Well, what's funny on YouTube too is a lot of people will be like, how do I get this on MP3? I'm like, we have a whole other website and on iTunes.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to just ignore YouTube, because it's just such a force of nature. And so we just put it up there because people do YouTube. They're YouTubers. They're tubers.
The YT.
We have a part of it, a category called What Is This Thing?
Yes.
Which I love, I will say, though, people are sometimes a little bit lazy, or they seem like it. They're just like, what is this thing?
And how much should I sell it for?
Do all the work for me. And all I ask sometimes I get a little prickly.
Yeah.
I'm just like, when you do that, post a photo and let everyone know what you've done to figure out what the price is, know. So say, I looked at it, I can't find anything, or I found this thing, or something like that. Just so it doesn't feel so much like you're just dumping all the work on other people. That's all.
Well, and nobody has to do the work,
Right.
but the problem is then
course.
you'll just get ignored.
Yeah.
Right. So do a little research.
Also, and this has been true for a long time, and I think this happens especially with people who are new to doing eBay, is that they find something old and they automatically assume it's really valuable. And I just think that's like the first thing to learn, is just because something's like from the 1920s does not mean anyone cares. Old does not mean expensive.
Right.
So that's why it's just good is just do a search, and if that old thing doesn't look like it's worth anything, then that's really what the answer is. Like, there's no secret, like someone's not going to tell you like, oh yeah, no, that's the old thing,
Right.
Or maybe they will.
Or maybe because you can't find anything about it, it's the only one in the entire world.
Yep.
Who knows?
So, what are we going to cook for It's This Week? Because we like to cook our own food. That's a big part of our life, is we live at home.
We cook at home.
We cook all of our meals. We save a lot of money, and we have fun eating yummy food.
I still have leftover quiche from last week that I need to finish.
So, I am going to start to make kimchi, which is a delicious Korean, like, pickled cabbage, basically.
Pickled, like, fermented cabbage.
Yeah, and so because I'm a tuber, I go on YouTube, and I'm like, how do I make kimchi? There's like a million videos. And
just real quick.
Yeah, basically it's Napa cabbage, which I could buy.
Is it a different kind of cabbage?
At Walmart. Yeah, it's different from, it's like the kind of a redneck cabbage that we eat, this big, like, hard basketballs, It
looks like big bok choy.
Right.
Sort of. Right?
The kind for kimchi.
Yeah.
You just cut it up, you put salt on it.
Okay.
Without iodine, so uniodized salt.
Oh, we have that, right? Of course, like sea salt.
You let the salt and the cabbage like do its thing. It like pulls out a moisture like liquid, and stuff like that. Then you wash it all off. Okay. And then you take the washed off cabbage that had salt on it, and you like put these special flakes. It's
like
basically
red pepper
just like
flakes?
hot. Yeah, it's basically red pepper flakes. I thought it was going to be some exotic thing, but it's just like red peppers that have been chopped up into flakes. I'm like, whatever, okay. And then I haven't done it yet, so I'm probably not remembering exactly. And you put that and some other stuff, garlic, ginger, and you mix it all up, some sugar, and you mix it all up, put it all in there, and then you jam it into
like a jar,
a glass jar, and you put a lid on it, not totally tight because then it'll blow up.
Yeah.
And then you keep it out for 5 days, and it ferments.
So you just let it sit out, like in the pantry.
Fermenting. And then after 5 days, you taste it, and then you put it in the fridge and eat it.
So it doesn't involve the Instant Pot or anything?
Nope, no Instant Pot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, cool. And
I'm excited.
Just a different way to eat vegetables, and, because, we eat just like a lot of chicken and just...
Yeah.
Things can, you start getting like, oh, more chicken, great.
Well, that's the cool thing about, like kimchi is like today we made some salmon and like vegetables, but if you throw some kimchi on there, it's a little bit of spice.
Ooh, yeah.
And a little bit of like fermented pickly flavor.
Chompalicious.
I've seen other people add other stuff to kimchi too, like carrots and like other stuff too. So.
Yeah, I'm excited,
Cool.
And on the forum, people are posting like,
food stuff,
things that they like to cook at home.
Someone posted a link to a bunch of like vegan recipes, which are interesting.
We love to cook like things in big pots. So like cook once and then you eat on it all week.
I made like a big. Sorry, I'm yawning. It's cold in this house. It's making me tired. I made a big like chicken and cabbage soup, like kind of Asian chicken, cabbage, coconut milk soup last night. It was really good.
It was good.
There's still a bunch left, so I don't have any exciting things like kimchi to cook this week.
And we keep our house cold. Well, we don't keep it cold. It happens to be cold right now because I haven't started a fire because it's like 60 degrees outside.
It's really warm outside. That's the problem. It's like rainy and warm, but the house like kept the chill from yesterday.
I will say we have a rental, and it has heat pumps, so it's like a modern a system. In January, we spent $500.
This is like a whole
heating that house because we had renters there, and I'm just like, wow, is that how much people, like normal people, pay that have heat pumps? Are they paying $500 a month to heat their house?
Well,
wow.
The thing is, I mean, we live in a place that doesn't usually get as cold as it did in January, and there were the first 8 days of January that were like below zero.
Right. It was super
cold. Somebody told us that a heat pump, if it gets below a certain temperature, like the backup electricity
it's basically
turns
just
on.
electric heat. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I guess just to me, I'm like, if people, I mean, is that what normal people that have heat pumps?
Right, because we heat our house with wood, so we don't pay extra electricity for heat.
Right. I'm like, wow.
So maybe if we had turned our baseboard heat on, we'd be in shock.
Maybe.
Okay,
let's answer the questions that people have sent in this week.
You can always call us on our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. This is Nancy from Wisconsin, longtime listener and participant on the forum. Here in Wisconsin, we say geegaws, not googaws. And Merriam-Webster Dictionary says geegaws is a less common variant of googaws. So if you haven't heard googaws, you probably haven't heard geegaws. It's not a word that I use often or probably ever, but I would know what someone meant if they said that to me. And here I'll try and use it in a sentence. I went to an estate sale and they had everything under the sun, all kinds of knickknacks, doodads, and gewgaws. So thanks for everything you do. Always enjoy listening and reading the forum. And belated Happy New Year. Bye.
Okay, cool. Gewgaws and gewgaws. Still have never heard either of those before.
Interesting. Yeah.
I've heard thingamabob, doodad, knickknack, tchotchke.
Yep.
I've heard all of those things.
Yep.
I've never heard of geegaw or googaw. Never.
I'm gonna, the next auction it's we're at, I'm gonna go up to it's one of those old guys that is like the auction hounds, and I'm gonna be like,
so ridiculous.
Hey, what do you think about those googaws? And just see if he knows what I'm talking about. Like, do old people know? Like,
they must.
Yeah.
But there are people on the forum who are just like, yeah, I've been in this business for 20 years. I've never heard anybody say that before. I just think it's a very specific regional thing, I guess.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. This is Rachel from Kansas, and I have a question about shipping. With the FedEx SmartPost prices going up so much, I am realizing that it's just really making it hard for buyers to want to buy anything from me. So I feel like I need to go in and probably switch everything from FedEx SmartPost to Parcel Select or Priority. But I wanted to ask you if you pass along your shipping discount to your customers. I don't, but I'm starting to feel like maybe I should to make my products more lucrative to buyers. So I really respect your integrity. I know you really work hard to give great service to your customers and to be fair and honest. And I'm feeling kind of bad that I'm not passing that discount along. So I wanted to find out what you think about that. So I'd appreciate your thoughts. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, you might not like my integrity now because I'm not going to pass my discount on to my buyers.
Oh, was she saying that we should? That
No, she's just asking if we did, and
yeah, I mean,
wondering.
Look, we don't pass on the discount that eBay gives us because that helps us pay for shipping supplies and just the time it takes to ship. I mean,
our fees and all that stuff.
If anyone ships, it takes time to do it and to do it right.
I have not noticed the SmartPost thing.
Right, and so the reason why she's bringing this up is because a FedEx SmartPost, people have said, is extraordinarily high, and eBay hasn't caught up to that. So on eBay, someone might buy an item, FedEx SmartPost, and spend $10. But when the person actually goes to
print the label, it's like $30. Yeah, it's just like so.
And eBay supposedly knows it's a problem, but they're not officially announcing it.
It's very strange. I have not seen it on my store. I don't know if it's just certain users.
Have you done SmartPost in the past week?
I do it all the time.
Okay.
Like half my packages are SmartPost.
Are they smaller, bigger?
I guess they're smaller. I mean, they're just smaller.
I just wonder if like the size, like the actual...
They're not oversized. No? That's the thing.
I wonder if the ones that people are having problems with are the sizes, and maybe FedEx has changed the size
dimensional weight thing. Yeah, maybe it is.
The dim weight.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know, but you could, like this caller was saying, you can bulk edit and change all your SmartPost listings to have parcel instead. Right. Just go through USPS
and that is an interesting thing. So when a customer comes to your store, and if you use calculated shipping, they are paying, I guess, the retail rate that they would pay at the post office. And then what eBay does is, if you ship through eBay labels, it's negotiated a discount.
It's a commercial base rate.
And then they give you a discount.
Right.
So you can make a bit of profit to ship and I guess cover costs. And I guess eBay has a thing where you can go in and check a box and say, take that and give it all back to the customer.
Yeah, so your shipping prices, say it's 20% off a priority label, it'll show that to the buyer.
Does it show that they get a discount, or does it just make the price cheaper?
Just makes the price cheaper.
Okay, so
they're not like, your seller is awesome. Right. They're doing this for you. People are just like, okay, this costs.
So I guess, if you think that if you give the discount to the buyer and they see a cheaper way to ship, then maybe someone will buy your item over somebody else's.
And they might, but I'm not betting on it.
Yeah.
I don't bet on it, personally, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Elizabeth from Castle Rock Emporium. Just catching up on some podcasts, so responding to last week's, the woman with the Iceland Problem. It sounded like she said eBay customer service gave the Iceland person her phone number. That really concerns me that eBay customer service would do that, but I also think no, they wouldn't, because eBay would never encourage people to talk outside of eBay, so they couldn't document it. Tell me what you think. Thanks. Bye.
Okay, I do want to say this. The woman who called about the Iceland problem, this is what's weird to me.
Now, really quick, say it's what the problem is.
Okay, so she said there was someone from Iceland who was badgering her about the price of shipping or the price of the item, wanted it cheaper. And the lady was like, it's a $10 necklace. No. So she blocked this buyer from buying. She says that eBay gave this person in Iceland her phone number.
Even without the person buying the item.
That's what's weird.
Yeah.
Because you should not be able to exchange phone numbers if you haven't made a transaction.
Right. And so it's this a woman is right. Like eBay would not give out phone numbers because then they don't want people getting deals.
Like harassing. Yeah, exactly.
If you do buy an item from someone on eBay,
you can get their phone number.
Buyer and a seller have access to that phone number.
And now what I think has changed is this is how it used to be. If someone gave you an offer or won an auction and hadn't paid, you could request their phone number. Because, you could call them and be like, hey, when are you going to pay for this, blah, blah, blah. You can no longer do that until the person's paid. You cannot get their phone number until they've paid. Because I tried to get someone's phone number at one point for some reason.
Well, because I remember someone was like, it's a trick to get someone to pay.
Because you're requesting their phone number.
Because when you request the phone number, the buyer or they are notified.
Both phone numbers are exchanged.
Right, and they are notified like it's your seller has asked for
your
phone number,
contact
and so the strategy is like the buyer's going to be like,
oh no, they're going to
call me. I better pay.
Right. So they've changed that. You can no longer get their phone number until they pay.
Right.
Because you're supposedly what you're going to do is ask about their address or make sure or whatever. But this caller is correct that eBay. My theory or my hypothesis is that eBay doesn't want you to talk on the phone because they don't want you to do the deal off of eBay.
Right.
And eBay should not give out your phone number actually under any circumstances.
Right.
If your buyer paid for the item and needs to talk to you on the phone, they can request that information.
And also someone was, people are like, that's, I'm freaked out. I don't want people to call me. I don't want people, whatever. Yeah. I don't know. It's like, it's just a phone number. But if you're worried about that, fine. I mean, it's your address, and that seems to be more concerning. Exactly. I mean, the phone number really isn't that big a deal. I don't think
they actually have your address until you ship the package with your return address on it.
But they eventually will know your shipping.
Unless you have a P.O. box.
Someone says that you can put in a number that isn't yours, a fake number.
Right.
eBay doesn't verify it's your phone number. So if you're really freaked out about it, just put in a fake phone number.
Or get a Google Voice number that, isn't your cell phone number. Yeah. One time I actually had a seller harassing me. This is someone I bought something from. Right. She started harassing me. If you've heard old episodes, I'm sure you heard about it. And for a while, I was like, I don't want her to have my phone number. I just put the local Chinese takeout number as my phone number for like a week.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this person's like freaking me out.
And just the end of the story was, I was real proud of you. I was like, wow, that's amazing. You actually called, her police station right in her small town.
Because I had her address.
And you talked to a detective, I guess, who called a woman and just said, stop harassing this person. Yeah. And she stopped.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
It was a tiny town. So the cops were probably like, oh, we have something to do.
But that's really cool. Like, I'm really happy that cop did that. It was like, he didn't have to do it. Like, a woman hadn't broken a law yet, but he was like, yeah, I'll call her.
Is cyberbullying against the law? Because she was seriously harassing me.
Yeah, I don't know.
And what's funny is she was a seller. It wasn't even like, it's just really weird. Anyway, so yes, you can, get a Google Voice number that forwards to your cell phone or whatever if you're worried about it. Okay, that's it for the podcast this week. You can check out our blog at scavengerlife.com for the links we discuss and to join the conversation on the forum. Again, you can leave a question or a comment on our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486. On Wednesday, we post a What Sells video to show what sold and how much we sold it for. Currently being brought to you by Stephen Schultz. We post an episode every Monday morning. I forgot to say that. You can subscribe to us through iTunes or YouTube, and you'll always get the latest episode. And we are ending this podcast in 3, 2, 1.
It's you.